Jake.
I'm Tom.
We are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. We are on a tour of albums that came out earlier in the year that may have gotten some buzz, may not have gotten some buzz, but we just like them. And there was other stuff coming out at the time that the albums were released, and so we decided that while we listened to them and said this is worth reviewing, we're going to wait a while to review them and then come back to them later when we have time. There's a lull in mid-August in music releases where it's the calm before the storm, though. There's a ton of good music coming out to close out 2013. But while we're in this lull, I say we review Savage's Silence Yourself.
Okay.
I think this came out in May.
A while ago.
A few months ago now. Got a lot of attention. This is a debut album. This is a London-based post-punk revival band / noise rock. Let me talk about the term post-punk revival. I cannot tell you how badly I hate the term post-punk revival. Post-punk never went away. It never died. It never went anywhere. The Fall is still making albums. The Fall is still making albums.
You make a strong point there.
I do. It never went away. How can you revive something that never died? God. So, I just call this a post-punk outfit, and they do a damn good job at making post-punk music. So, first thing you notice is that the vocalist is female and she kicks ass. She is rocking out throughout this entire damn album. You have driving bass lines that are just loud, in your face. There's, the punk side of it really comes out from that bass, and I feel like the guitars are noisy, and I really like how in some of the tracks, Tom, they use guitars in a way that I wouldn't expect a post-punk band to do. It's more on that noise side where they're using it to more make like background atmosphere effects, screeches, things like that. It really adds some depth to this.
And it really kind of goes back to like Public Image Limited and the very birth of post-punk, where you have that like icy but aggressive driving bass line, the drums that are just hypnotic and tribal, kind of driving the whole momentum of the track, and then just that noisy guitar. You get the classic punk elements, but they're also using it for mood in those more kind of abrasive and noisy spots. And it really complements what's going on in the rest of the music and the vocals, because you can tell that the guitar is meant to accent certain parts of ferocity in the vocals. Which I had to get this off my chest. The vocalist, she sounds exactly like Geddy Lee.
She does. And she sounds just like Geddy Lee.
It's not like, oh yeah, the vocalist, she sounds quite a bit like Geddy Lee. Like, she sounds exactly like Geddy Lee. There's nothing there that doesn't sound like Geddy Lee.
But good news. We really like Geddy Lee.
That's not a complaint at all, and it's not like this sounds anything like Rush in any other regard, so it doesn't matter.
I saw that sloppy sack of wrinkles on stage last year. I mean, he's like in his 60s and he rocked the house in Minneapolis last year. But, I mean, you're right. She does sound exactly like Geddy Lee, but I feel like she uses that to a strength. But it's produced differently. Totally. It's post-punk, so it's a little bit more lo-fi in the production. You don't get that technical complexity also with feeling and precision in the instrumentation. So I mean, throughout this album, there's just this sense of raw intensity. Now, if I had one complaint, it's that this album is clearly weighted to the front half of the record. The back half of the record, I feel like tracks like No Face, Hit Me, even Husbands, I just feel like
those are the weaker ones to me.
Those are just the weaker tracks, and that makes up the back, the core of the back section of the album, and they just don't seem to have the direction, the sense of purpose that those first 6 tracks really encompass.
What did you think of the closing track?
I actually liked
really liked it too.
They add piano to it. I think it just is a great, nice way to end it. Sax.
And then exactly. And then the woodwind comes in and it sounds like a smoky post-punk jazz club. Like if such a thing exists, that's what it would sound like. But it's a very cool kind of switch up in the mood and the energy and in the instrumental palette for the last track. It shows that closing out the album, they still have tricks up their sleeve, and it leaves a lot of promise for the future. But I think you're right. I think there's a bit of a lull right before that track. It's good that it ends strongly, but the whole ending stretch as one kind of unit could have been a little bit stronger. Also in the middle of the album, they have track 6, Dead Nature, which is just kind of this ambient short in-between track kind of separating the halves of the album, and I actually liked that pretty well. I thought it showed a little bit of albumization.
I bet you on the actual record, that's where you have to flip.
I really hope so. I would imagine, because these track lengths are fairly uniform. You've got a couple of longer ones, but they hover around the 3.5 minute mark. So you know, it's not like these are super long extended jams like I mentioned Public Image Limited earlier, and they you know, they definitely have some extended jams. So these gals are really focusing more on songwriting, getting those intense punches and choruses, setting up the whole songs. There's lots of great dynamics here, lots of different energy, and I was just overall impressed, especially considering this is a debut.
Yeah, and the songwriting's top-notch throughout the album. It does taper off a little bit towards the end, but it's still very impressive.
Yeah.
Tom, this is a pretty new group, right?
Yeah.
Like,
very new.
January last year?
Yeah, it was their first gig.
Wow.
I know.
That's crazy.
And they released an album in 2013, and they're already impressing people and impressing us. So I gotta say, this is one to watch, and probably one of the stronger debuts we've heard in a while.
I'm not gonna lie, they won me over because I did not like this at first, and the more I just sat and focused on what they were doing, how they wrote the songs, the level of instrumentation, how they controlled dynamics and intensity, the more I listened to it, the more impressed I got.
And I think one of the things that really helps it too, that I didn't mention earlier, is just a general approach to the sound and style. They own it, and they take it with such confidence, such precision, and also just with a sense of deliberation.
Yeah.
You can tell that every sound is on purpose, every switch in song structure, you know, moving from piece to piece, is very deliberate and very thought out, and that's really what I'm looking for that thought out aspect in music, and for people to approach it with confidence.
Yep, I agree. What are you going to give this?
I'm going to give it an 80.
I'm going 82. So 81 from Velocities Music. That's a very good score. That puts this on our must-listen albums list. That means you guys should definitely check out Savage's Silence Yourself if you have not already. If you have, or if you will, listen to it and leave us a comment, and we really want to know your thoughts, because it's so cool when you see an album or listen to an album like this that changes your opinion or somehow wins you over throughout your listening experience. I mean, those are always the albums that really stick with you over time, at least in my experience. So we'd love to hear your thoughts at www.velocitiesinmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesinmusic. Also, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and let us know what other albums from 2013 you'd like to see us review. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.